Welcome everybody to a new session of discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. Today we'll discuss something about Sankhya and Yoga. We can see the very second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is titled Sankhya Yoga. Every chapter is a yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. And the second chapter is the Sankhya Yoga. So, when we come across Sankhya, immediately this points to the six darsanas, six philosophies of the Hindu doctrine, the Hindu culture. And to some extent, to some length, we have also discussed about those Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Vaisesika, and Vedanta. These are the six darsanas, six philosophies, or we can say Shadadarsan, the sixfold philosophies of the Hindu culture. But in the Bhagavad Gita, as time and again, we have tried to emphasize this, and Sri Aurobindo is also of the same view that the Bhagavad Gita brings about a great synthesis. A synthesis. So when we speak of Sankhya, the name itself speaks us about its nature. Sankhya, integers. From Sankhya, it is Sankhya. So Sankhya philosophy is more or less an analysis. It has analyzed the nature's works. Nature works in a particular pattern. Of course, every darshan, even the Western philosophy also, they have to some extent delved into the matter. So the workings of the nature, they follow a particular pattern. And our sages, our seers, they have tried to, decipher the pattern, to bring out the core principle behind these workings of the nature or the human life or the total universe, whatever we are experiencing. Now, when we speak of this Sankhya, the basis of Sankhya is knowledge. The basis of Sankhya is knowledge. It comes from knowledge. Because when we say it is an analysis, Sankhya is more or less analytical. And when we analyze something, for a certain analysis, knowledge is the first prerequisite. Unless we have sufficient knowledge, perhaps it is very difficult for us to analyze a particular thing. And Sankhya does it with a basic principle. Then yoga, of course, this Sankhya Darsana, if we read the aphorisms of Sankhya, we can know there are some, aphorisms 1, 2, 3, 4. Then comes yoga. Patanjali is the founder of yogic system of philosophy, Yoga Darsana. As many people, including the doctors and worldwide, it has become very popular, yoga. and suddenly we all humans have become health conscious. And yoga gives us a very good recipe about how to keep yourself fit, how the body could be disease free, all sorts of things. But when Patanjali, the founder of yoga philosophy, when he devised it, his purpose, basic purpose, was that to free the mind. The principles of, we call it this Raja Yoga, Hatha Yoga, the yoga that deals with this body. It is mostly concerned about the body, and the particular yoga that concerns our mind is called Raja Yoga. So this, all the dasanas, as we have time and again, we have emphasized that almost all the philosophies, all the scriptures, or in other way we call those shastra, they have one purpose in common, and that purpose to uplift, to elevate, to sublimate the present human state. Man must be raised, sublimated, elevated to some other level. So the purpose is same, but ways may be different. Not maybe. Why maybe? Ways are different. But the goal is one. Doesn't matter how you go about or what way you adopt, but the goal is always the same. Well, now Patanjali's yoga system, its basis is work. To do something, work, karma. But Sankhya, it deals with the knowledge. That we have already told. And the origins of yoga, Patanjali's yoga system, as we have come across, that mind must be stable. There must be an equanimity and state of equilibrium has to be attained, and for that mind must be free. So all these things have been advocated or advised to us. Everything, this Ashtanga Yoga Marga, whatever we read and whatever Patanjali has said us. Now what Gita has done here, Gita has brought two, apparently opposite philosophies to a great synthesis. In its broad Vedantic frame, because we have already come across Vedanta, the Vedanta philosophy has three rungs. If it is a ladder, it has three rungs. It has three parts, three things form the basis of the Vedanta philosophy. They are Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and the Bhagavad Gita. So all these three combinedly form the Vedanta philosophy. So Gita is one of the Vedanta philosophies. So in its broad Vedantic frame, it has brought Sankhya and Yoga together. And that is a very good thing and very good, achievement. We can say Gita has achieved a tremendous, an attempt it has done to synthesize both the things. But these two seem to us to be moving in separate directions. Sankhya is something else, Yoga is something else. Let us first concentrate on this Sankhya. As I said, it emanates from a certain knowledge, and 24 this basic tattvas, the basic principles Sankhya has advocated the three gunas, Sattva, Raja and Tamo. Then Manas, this mind, Buddhi, intelligence, and Ahankara, ego, these three are also there. Then the five senses. Well, this touch, feel, smell, see, and taste, and hear. All these things, these are the five things. Then the other five tattvas by which everything is being built here. This air, water, fire, ether, and air, water, fire, ether, and this earth. These five elements, the basic elements. Khiti, Aap, Tej, Marut, Vyoma. These five principles are there. Then the five, we have this senses, the sense activities and the senses. Nose, ear, the eyes, your mouth, then arms, legs, all these things. 24 basic principles, basic tattvas Sankhya has dealt with. And Sankhya has again dealt with this Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti, this Purusha is a passive, is a silent being, and Prakriti, the executive, doer, the doer of the things. Executrix, Prakriti. Prakriti does everything. But Purusha is passive, silent. But it endorses whatever Prakriti does. And when the soul withdraws, then there is a disequilibrium. And when the soul is there, it gives its permission and Prakriti does everything, then all the three gunas, Sattva, Raja and Tama, they are in an equilibrium state. And when Purusha withdraws, then there is a disequilibrium. All these things Sankhya has dealt with. All these things Sankhya has dealt with. Not only that, Sankhya has dealt with so many Purushas, multiplicity of Purusha. Sankhya doesn't say there is only one Purusha. In the Vedas, only two things are told about. One is Prakriti and another is Purusha. One Purusha and one Prakriti. But Sankhya speaks of multiple Purushas, multiplicity of Purushas, not only one Purusha. But Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, when it has accepted Sankhya, we can call it is Vedantic Sankhya. The original Sankhya has not been accepted by the Bhagavad Gita in full. The Bhagavad Gita has not accepted Sankhya in full. It has rejected the multiplicity of Purushas as Sankhya has advocated. In the Bhagavad Gita, we come across only one Purusha. Anumanta, Bharta, one Purusha. In 15th chapter, we can come across that. The Bhagavad Gita has not endorsed the multiplicity of Purushas, number one. Then other thing, some principles and some analysis of Sankhya, the Bhagavad Gita has accepted, but not all these principles that Sankhya has advocated. Now, Sankhya is basically atheistic in its views. Atheistic in its views. It doesn't endorse God and other things. But the Bhagavad Gita endorses. Sri Krishna is the master, is the God. So some Sankhya principles the Bhagavad Gita has accepted and some principle the Gita has rejected. So we can call, whenever this Sankhya, because the second chapter is Sankhya and it is a pretty long chapter also. It's a longer chapter with around 72 verses or shlokas in that chapter. So the Bhagavad Gita has accepted it, but not in its full terms and conditions. The Bhagavad Gita is theistic in its approach, whereas Sankhya is atheistic. But it has accepted its knowledge. Because in the second chapter, in the Sankhya Yoga, so many things have been told to Arjuna to answer his questions. This death, birth and other things. So that is jnana, knowledge. As I said, Sankhya is best with knowledge. Then yoga, its basis is work. That has also the Bhagavad Gita accepted. That the Bhagavad Gita also has accepted. But the rigidity with which Patanjali has said all the yogic aphorisms, that the Bhagavad Gita has rejected. No rigidity. There must be flexibility. Yes, works are necessary, and the Bhagavad Gita has put much more importance on the works, karma. But again, that karma should not be so rigid as Patanjali has advocated. Do this and then you can do this, nothing. Karma as a whole, as a substance, as an essence has been accepted. So also is the case with Sankhya. So this Sankhya and this yoga, both the dasanas, both the schools of philosophies have been so nicely mingled, so nicely blended in the Bhagavad Gita. Perhaps no other scripture has been able to do this. No other scripture has been able to do this. The pure Sankhya is not here, and the pure yoga is also not here. The Bhagavad Gita has its own frame, and in that frame, it has put all the philosophies at their proper places. We will continue this type of discussion. Till then, namaskar.